Welcome back to the lesson. In this video, we're going to be discussing about tables in HTML. HTML tables allow web developers to arrange data into rows and columns. A table in HTML consists of table cells inside rows and columns. So let's go ahead and create one ourselves. Now if you come over here to your HTML document, we're going to go ahead and start by adding some description. So we're going to go ahead and use some of H2. Alright, we're going to say a simple HTML table. Alright, we're going to go ahead and save our file. A simple HTML table is displayed. Now we're going to go ahead and start creating our table using the table tag. So we're going to go ahead and say table, and we're going to go ahead and expand it like so. So as I've mentioned from the introduction, that HTML tables allow programmers to arrange data in rows and column wise. So we're going to go ahead and start by adding our rows, so which is table row like so, and this is going to be our first table row. So we're going to go ahead and expand that, and within our first table row we're going to go ahead and add some table headings. So we say table heading and hit enter. So right here our first heading is going to be, let's say, first name, or let's say F name for first name, and our second heading, let's go ahead and copy this down. Alright, our second heading should be last name. Well, let me actually write it in full. Let's say last name. Let's come over here and say first name, something like this. And here should be age. Alright, so right here, as you can see, we are having our table elements defined. We have the first row, and within our first row we have three headings for first name, last name, and age. So let's go ahead and save our file. As you can see, we have our first name, last name, and age. So we're going to go ahead and add some border to this table for you to have a clear picture of exactly how the table is structured. So let me actually come over here inside of our heading and use the CSS internal styling. So we're going to go ahead and use the style element, the HTML style element, and expand it. And we're going to go ahead and now target our table elements. So we're going to go ahead and say we wanted to target the table element, comma, and then we also wanted to target the table row element. Paste that and say comma, and also the table head. Copy that, paste it right here, and then we're going to go ahead and apply some border to it. So we're going to go ahead and say border, set it to 1 pixels, solid, and black color. Alright, something like this. Now I'm going to go ahead and save our file. As you can see now, our table has started to have some border surrounding it, which is perfect. And now we're going to go ahead and add some width to our table to make our table even bigger. So let's come over here inside of our table elements right here. I'm going to go ahead and use the style attribute and set the width to, okay, let's say width to, let's say 100%. Alright, something like this. And now we're going to go ahead and save our file. Alright, perfect. So as you can see now, our table is getting even more cooler. So let's go ahead and now continue with designing our table. Now we have the first row, which contains only the headings, the table heading. Now we're going to come over here and start defining our table data in rows as well. So let's come over here, down below after our first row, we're going to go ahead and define another row, table row, and hit enter, expand our table row. But this time around, we're not going to be adding table heading, but rather table data. So we're going to go ahead and say table data this time around and hit enter. And now we're going to go ahead and start defining the data. So for first name, which is going to be the first heading now, I'm going to go ahead and say I have Mustafa. Alright, and for the last name, we're going to say Jibril, and the age, we're going to give it 26. Okay, 26. And now we're going to go ahead and save our file. As you can see, now we have our table data. But as you can see, the table data is not bordered as the first row, which basically contains the table heading. Well, it's because we add a new tag right here, table data. So we're going to go ahead and copy that and add it inside of our style selectors right here. So as you can see right here, we are targeting only the table, table row, and table head. So we're going to go ahead and add the table data as well. Now we're going to go ahead and save our file. As you can see, now everything is cool. All right, perfect. Now let's go ahead and add a couple of more table data. So let's go ahead and copy our row right here and paste it down below here. And this time around, we're going to change the name to, let's say, John. And the last name should be Doe. All right, so the age should be 34, and let's go ahead and save our file. Okay, now we have another person added inside of our HTML table. Now we're going to go ahead and add one last table row. Okay, copy that, paste it down below here. This time around, the name should be Aisha, and the last name should be Mustafa, and the age should be, let's say, 22. Okay, so let's go ahead and save our file. As you can see, we have another user or another person added inside of our HTML table. Alright, so friend, that will be it for this video. We learned about the table element, we learned about the table row tag, the table heading tag, and the table data tag as well. And we also learned how to add some borders to our tables, our HTML table, using the internal CSS styling method. And I hope everything is clear to you in this lessons, and I will see you in the next one.